So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Green morning, green afternoon, green evening, wherever you are world over. We extend you a very hearty welcome for yet another powerful program on series Making Education Relevant. आइए शिक्षा को प्रासंगिक बनाएं, meaningful बनाएं. It's a global confluence of educators, motivators, technocrats, experts, and from the world over, whosoever can give the best of expertise. So this is a confluence of entire knowledge reservoir and expertise which we are trying to get all of you. So ladies and gentlemen, today is the 95th webinar. That's on Thursday at 12:30 hours Indian Standard Time, 13th of August 2020. So while extending a very hearty welcome to each one of you, let me share that this morning we have got a very distinguished guest, and she's going to give us a lot of surprises. She's going to share heart to heart, vision to vision, cerebrum to cerebrum, whatever age group you are, whether you are a school student, you are a college student, you are a university student, your parents, your teacher, your counselor, your technocrat, whosoever you are. Because ultimately what matters is, it is not your living skills, it's your life management skills. How are you leading your life? How are you shaping your life? How you're designing your life? How you're planning your life? What kind of a life you want to live and lead and leave the legacy? That is something very important which we have to talk about. So ladies and gentlemen, we extend a very, very hearty welcome today to a lady who is joining us. She is Dr.Shilpa Suri. She's a co-founder, Planet Psychology, career consultant and life skill trainer at the Global Confluence and educator. And when I talk about the Planet Psychology, she will tell you in detail. And as she's a career consultant and life skill trainer, so she's going to give us a lot of roadmaps and a lot of white papers and action plans, what all we can do and how we can, particularly during this pandemic, we can have a wonderful journey. Those of us from world over, those are joining for the first time, because every day we keep having new entrants, new people. Those are getting the leads from their friends, relatives, and known people. And I'm amazed, yesterday we had 13 hours non-stop program from morning 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It was the World Youth Day. It was विश्व युवा दिवस, और कल 1 लाख लोग जुड़े इस प्रोग्राम में. And most of you prefer to come on the Facebook. You want to come on the watch parties instead of logging in on the webinar. But well, we got to, as per your choice. It's an open world. It's a futuristic world. It's a flexible world. Whatever makes you comfortable. Now our chamber, International Chamber for Service Industry, which basically is a confluence between non-resident Indians, the corporate and the government, and we give a lot of inputs, a lot of suggestions, a lot of white papers, action plan, roadmaps, policy frameworks to the government from time to time. And we are so privileged and so happy that in the recent past, we gave 12 verticals for the services sector, which were taken into consideration. And at the same time, in the micro, small and medium enterprise, when we gave the suggestion that services sector has to be brought at par with the manufacturing sector, and it was accepted in totality. We are so grateful to Ministry of MSME, and the other day the Honorable Finance Minister of India, Nirmala Sitharamanji, when she announced, it was a great soothing and a great solace and a great satisfaction for our chamber when we learned that the government of India now has given the permission where the micro, small and medium enterprise and particularly manufacturing sector and services sector have been taken together. Education is also part of services sector, and now the new education policy has come in India. We would like to compliment and congratulate the very dynamic and a very vibrant Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and along with him, the new designation and the new avatar and the new norm which is given. The HRD has been converted now to Ministry of Education. So Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji, you along with your team, you all have done a commendable job. And the new education policy, which is 5+3+3+4, It is a new roadmap and a new mapping, which is going to give a new fillip to the entire education ecosystem of India and all the Indians, those are abroad at this point of time. And when we have gathered the suggestions, the ideas, and the inputs from them, we are extremely happy that all of them, they are going to give the salutation to the Indian government for the new education policy which has come. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, during this pandemic, well, the crisis also come in life and the opportunities also come, both go hand in hand. We got to be taking into consideration. And during this lockdown, when we talk about the thought processes are affected, business is affected, physical and mental health is affected. That part is very important, which you have to take into consideration. And the main part of the universe, that is your education, that is also deeply affected, which we have to take into consideration. Ladies and gentlemen, that is something very important. So the education which is affected at this point of time, we would like to discuss in detail today with our distinguished guest, esteemed guest, where we are going to share what exactly is happening in the education system. Due to the COVID-19, approximately 1.6 billion children and youth, roughly half of the world's student population, they are at present away from schools, colleges and universities. They are not in their institution. And there's a logic behind, there is reason behind that, because the aim is we need the safety and we need security of all our young children, because they're tender, they're quite young, and if somebody gets into a trap of corona, so to avoid all that, the government has taken very appropriate measures and everybody has been confined. But hats off to all my educators, technocrats, counselors, psychologists, and all the people, stakeholders, those are directly or indirectly associated with the education system. You all are doing wonderful job, like doctors, nurses, and paramedical people. They are the warriors. You are also warrior on your own way, and you're doing commendable job. Salutations to you. India always believes it. It's not only our own problem. It's not only India's problem. If there is a pandemic, the whole globe is affected. And once we all are affected by this, we got to take, at this point of time, Vasudev Kutumbakam. One world, one love, one family, and what can we do for each other? That is something very important which we have to understand. Now, something interesting comes over here. The new education policy, which has been put onto the Ministry of Education's website also, when you go through this education policy 2020, it talks about that 6% of the GDP that will be spent on education, and that is the school education, higher education, and all these separate compartments have now been removed. There is nothing like art, commerce, or science. And I was so happy the other day, living legend Asha Bhosle ji, when she sent the congratulations to Honorable Prime Minister and to the government, that today now the science student, they will also be able to take music as one of the subject, as art, craft, culture, whatever you want to talk about. We started this journey on 5th of June because it's a World Environment Day. On this particular day, when we started this journey, our focus is water conservation. All the research which is coming from world over, from different places, we are gathering the research synthesis, and that shows that the next crisis world over is going to be on water. And when we talk about water, means when there is going to be a shortage of water, there is going to be a misunderstanding. When there's going to be a misunderstanding, it's going to lead to lots of problems and chaos world over. So Jal Sanrakshan is very important. And yesterday, when we were celebrating the World Youth Day, we got the girls under women empowerment from the whole world, and they gave their inputs how the water to be conserved at home, in school, in college, in university, at working places, public places, and all the utility places wherever we have got. Our chamber, when it had carried out the service from 25th of March to 31st of July, the entire research synthesis, when we take into consideration, it has come that the golden triangle will not be now anymore like Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. The B2B will not be termed as business to business. It will be termed as back to basics. When we talk about back to basics, that means you've got to take care of basic food necessity. So your basic food is going to be your first prime concern. Second part is going to be your health. And with health is your wellness. And when we talk about health and wellness, it is not only your physical wellness, it's your mental wellness also. So today's distinguished guest, she would be talking out more on your physical and mental fitness and your wellness, what all you have to do. And when we talk about education, certainly education system will not get back to now what it used to be in January and February. Now we have moved ahead, ladies and gentlemen. And what you're going to see now is e-education, digital education, technology-based education, flipped learning, blended learning, out of the classroom learning, practical learning, vocational learning, skills and competencies is going to take a shape, and something very good which has been done in India. Now the internship has been brought right from the 6th class. So from our chamber, this is the last slide which I show to you before I introduce my today's celebrity and my warrior and my guest. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That is something very important which you have to understand. So you conceive good idea, you conceive positive idea, then believe in that idea. If you have conceived good idea, if you believe in that idea, you can achieve that idea, nobody can stop you. So let's come together, let's make education empowerment, and let's make education relevant. You can send your suggestions. If you wish to be a panelist, you can send your CV and name at innovation@icsi.asia. You can send a WhatsApp also to us. We would be more than happy to have you with us. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, let me extend this morning a very hearty welcome to the lady who is joining us, Dr.Shilpa Suri. She is the co-founder, Planet Psychology. Dr.Shilpa Suri is a PhD in therapeutic psychology. And when I talk about therapeutic, if I understand, it's more concerning with the adults. She's a career consultant, like skill trainer, a parenting educator. She's an expert in relational intelligence and has been enriching the tapestry of human abilities and emotions in diverse setups for over 2 decades. Her analytical skills in designing experiential workshops around motivational, interpersonal, and pedagogical issues have won her many accolades. Her in-depth theoretical knowledge and the skill to transform it to find long-term solutions to everyday life issues make her a sought-after professional. She is closely involved in S&M IS Academy, a leading institute for civil services preparation, and co-founder Planet Psychology, a career-focused guidance institute which provides students of psychology a contemporary applied perspective. She's on the advisory board for career profile testing of Singh Institute, Pune, and was deputy chairwoman of CII IWN Tri-City chapter. Her mission is to use her knowledge and experience to help people handle their emotional and psychological issues and upskill them to lead a happy life. So, ladies and gentlemen, we extend a very hearty welcome to Dr. Shilpa Suri this morning. A very hearty welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And with these words, I extend you a very warm welcome. The world is yours, audience is yours, people are yours. Go ahead with your vision, go ahead with your suggestion. Kindly first give the whole concept part of it, how it is applicable to the youth, how during this pandemic people can apply, because all age groups are affected. So
Yes.
how would you like to step up and you would like to talk about? Let's share your vision, Dr. Shilpa Suri.
Good morning and a big welcome to all the listeners on this call. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma, for this lovely, lovely introduction. and this wonderful platform that you have provided to me to share my perspective on education with people who really matter. So, friends, I come from a space of behavioral science, psychology, right? So, when we talk about policies, it's a top-down approach. So, bureaucrats, technocrats, intelligent TCR, they sit in some, air-conditioned rooms, and there they create those policies. But my subject, I'm so happy that I actually deal with the bottom-up approach. My concern is people who are actually going to implement the policy, and my concern are the people who are actually getting the advantage of whatever changes have been framed in our education policy. So a big shout out to all the people who are here on the call, because anytime you spare time for learning, for upskilling yourself, you are the people who are going to be the change agents. You are the people who are going to be the catalysts of change. Right? So, my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you to have spared time to come together on this platform and to be open, to be listeners to this, because it is an indicator that you are learners. It is an indicator that you have a progressive outlook towards life, and it is an indicator that you wish to change the world for yourself and for people around you. Right? So thank you so much. And today I shall be talking about education of heart. Our education had been catering to the head for umpteen numbers of years for now. It is all about logic, reasoning, intelligence, critical thinking, creativity, and so much more. But, this unprecedented crisis that we have kind of undergone, are still undergoing, it has proven to us once again that, when such times happen, when difficult times happen, and when challenging times happen, algebra, grammar, geometry doesn't come to our rescue, isn't it? What helps us fight and stand up and face these difficult situations is how we are mentally and emotionally and psychologically and interpersonally prepared to kind of deal with this kind of a situation, right? So, sir, if you could make me a presenter, because I have a PPT to share.
You have all the rights, ma'am. You can just do it.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So we're going to talk about education of heart. The term was coined by His Highness Dalai Lama 2 years ago, and it is so relevant for each one of us to understand this concept. In fact, it's not about understanding this concept. It's about knowing this concept. It's about experiencing this concept, and it is about appreciating this concept. So it goes like education of the heart, from curriculum to gurukulam. So I'm just wanting to connect the current education system with that of we already knew in our ancient education system when there was Nalanda and Takshala and Gandhara. So I'm just going to take you back to those roots once again, and I'm going to share with you how that system can be as relevant as it was then, because human beings remain human beings forever. Our needs, our basic values, the basic foundation on which the humanity stands is never going to change, no matter what times we are experiencing. So first, I'll just make you time travel a little bit and make you understand where did we start from and where have we...
Your PPT has yet to open, ma'am.
It has just opened, sir?
No. Your PPT has not opened, ma'am.
It hasn't?
No, ma'am.
So what is it that you can see on the screen right now?
Yeah, this is your education of the heart. It is, I think, from today's your other PPTs or your dashboard, whatever is there. Or do you want me to open for you? But you have the rights. You can open it, ma'am, because you are viewing Dr. Shilpa's screen.
Yeah, but what I am seeing is my own PPT. Can you see evolution of civilization on the screen, sir?
Ma'am,
No.
just let me just see. Just let me see. Hmm, Just a second, ma'am. Let me close all other PPTs. This will stop other screen sharing. Do you want me to close once?
Uh,
No,
Let me try again, sir.
no, ma'am. Just 1 second, ma'am. I will, because you can share, ma'am. I don't know why it's not coming. Your PPT should come directly.
That's what I'm thinking, sir.
No, no, please try it out. No worries, no worries. Take your time. Take your time. We all are going through the technological transfer.
Yes, that's not my strength either,
It's
but
nobody's strength. Don't worry. If yes, now it has again gone there only. Yes, it's opening now.
can you see the PowerPoint?
It has not opened. It has not opened. Now, what I can do, ma'am, let me just close all the PPTs first once mine, so that, let me just see. I'm going to close now. This is ours.
No,
So,
I don't think that will.
no, no, ma'am. What I'll do, what I'll do, I'll come back again, and this is stop share. Now you try, ma'am. Now you try.
I'm sharing the screen now.
No worries.
There's
Take your time, ma'am. It has started sharing screen. It comes to your,
downloads.
yeah, it comes to your education of the heart PPT. But
Yes,
yeah, it shows it is opening, but it doesn't open.
it is opening on my screen, sir.
No, but you have the first shot of yours,
Sorry.
ma'am. You got the first slide of yours.
Yes.
Uh, View options, because you have got all the rights to. I don't know. Just 1 second, ma'am. Now it has come, ma'am.
It is.
Now it has come. And you have got enable editing. So now you can move it up. Yes.
Okay.
Go to the first slide, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Go to the first slide of yours. And you can make it full screen, ma'am.
I press F.
Uh,
Wonder.
okay. No, no worries, ma'am. Let's go ahead because it's readable. No worries. Oh, it has gone.
Hmm.
No worries. No worries.
I'll try again.
Take your time. It started. The only thing is you have to take the full screen, ma'am. Yes, now it's there. Now it's there.
Okay. Wonderful.
Please go
So,
ahead.
education of heart. Thank you for bearing with me, everyone. Thank you so much for that. Education of the heart from curriculum to Gurukulam, right? So, but before I start off with education, let me just time travel. Let's all of us just time travel for a bit to understand how we have reached where we have reached. Let's have a quick look at the evolution of the civilization. Friends, when we were hunter gatherers, we started our lives as Homo sapien, and as human beings, with a sense of reverence towards nature, because she was beyond our cognitive and our comprehensive ability. So we were just gathering what was available, and we were hunting just the bare minimum that was needed for us for our survival. As time passed, and we became settlers, right? Indus and Mesopotamia and other civilizations, when they came into being, we became utilitarians. That is, from reverence, we started utilizing things which were available in the nature to our advantage. That's how, all the civilizations, they've actually established on the bank of rivers, because as Sir just mentioned, water is, Shiv It is Shiva on this earth. And that is the beginning of life, and that might become the end of the reason for the end of the life as well, if we do not utilize it and use it cautiously. So from reverence, we come to the utility part of it. And then, evolution kept on happening, things kept on happening, and the industrial revolution came in. When industrial revolution came in, from utilitarian approach, we became consumers. We started commodification of goods, and unfortunately now services also. Few things which was supposed to be given as daan, few things which were supposed to be handed over as as mark of respect and reverence and everything, they have become commodities. And unfortunately, health and education has become commodity. It is being sold and earned, and it is, what is happening in these two big sectors. Yahan tak bhi theek tha, it was still okay till here. The problem has happened now in 1994, when LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization happened, and we got exposure to the global scenario. There has been such a surge and such a huge change that happened in our lives, that from consumers, we become exploiters. Now we have come to that stage in our life where it is just I, me, and myself. And I don't want to go beyond my needs, my wishes, my desires, and unfortunately, my greed. And that's the cause, the basic reason for what we are going through today, what crisis we are facing today in this particular scenario, right? So this is where we have landed up. The human race is trying to achieve the impossible. We are trying to fulfill infinite desires with finite resources, right? The earth has very limited resources, my dear friends. She can cater to everybody's needs, but she can't cater even to a single person's greed. And my dear friends, there is only one home we have, right? We are not Elon Musk or any big shot that we can shift to moon or Mars in coming time. We have only one home to live. This is the earth. That's the only home we have. So let's become little cautious. Let's become little, vigilant about how we are interacting with self and other things and resources and people around us, in case we want to leave something for our children and for the coming generations to use. The next slide I'm going to show with you, my dear friends, was a mind-boggling and a mind-opening slide for me. We started as an agrarian society. When we were agrarian society, we were interdependent people, because it is simple, it is simple economy of goods. It is simple economy of labor. So when more people cultivate a bigger piece of land, the yield is bigger and the profit earns are also bigger. So we were a joint family. We were a community livers, and we were a collectivistic culture. With industrial revolution, my dear friends, we all started getting our own jobs. So I am being paid a salary for what I am doing, and my brother or my sister or anybody I know would be receiving a salary for whatever they would be doing. So from interdependence, we became independent. That's how, the joint family system broke. From community living, from a collectivistic culture, we became individualistic. We became an individualistic culture, and it's all about the big I, the big E. The big I is me, and the big E is the ego that I carry, the heavy head that I carry on my head. I wish we had stopped there. Then came a revolution, and we became a corporate culture altogether. Right? And I have no qualms in saying that our education system, how we are training our children for just livelihood, is the basic reason that, we are again pushing them towards being totally dependent. And you know what? We are dependent on material stuff now. If you see, we are trapped in that barcode for good now. Everything is available at the click of a button, at the touch of a finger. But we don't, I do not know who's a slave here, whether we are slaves to the technology or it's the technology who's a slave to us. I don't decide how much time am I spending on Facebook. Once I am on Facebook, when I look at my watch, gosh, 1 hour is gone. So who's the master, my dear friends? Please take a call on this today. So we are utterly dependent. We are utterly attached with goods around us, with stuff around us. Friends, it's people who need to be valued and material that needs to be used. And our world has totally flipped. We are using people and we are totally attached to material and stuff around us. It's a wake-up call for all of us. Okay, my question and little introspection required by all of you while you read this slide. Do we really call it development, my dear friends? We have certainly made a lot of discoveries and we have made a lot of advancement in our technology. But, and yes, this has made life easier. But has it made life better? A part of my family stays in Gurgaon. We have 3 little kids in Gurgaon. All 3 of them use nebulizers when the traffic and when the pollution goes up. Majority of children in our bigger cities, they are facing asthma and other pulmonary disorders. I was reading a report by Dr. Trihan. I'm forgetting the number, but crores and crores of people in our country, they are cardiac patients. And he says the number is going to double if we are not going to pay attention to our health, to our surroundings, to our environment, and how we are kind of putting ourselves to work around us. So is it a better life? Had it been a better life, we would not have been spending lakhs of rupees to go on a resort and have a quiet holiday once in every year. I'm sure there is some introspection required here. We have polluted our air, water, land. We are putting chemicals in our soil, which is taking up the plants and animals, and it is brought into our bodies and we are consuming them. Is this not suicidal, my friends? Do you call it an intelligent behavior by the most evolved species on this planet Earth? Please think about this. We take stress and worry, we feel rage, envy, and panic. We produce biochemical reactions in our bodies that eat away and destroy us. Is this what we had come to this earth for? Is this the purpose of human life and human existence? Friends, we are human beings. We are not human doings. So my small suggestion to you, replace your to-do list with to-be list. What is it that you want to be? What is it that you desire to be is more important than what is it that you want to do in your life. Because when you be something, the doing part actually is taken care of. We deliberately take into our bodies substances that we know are not doing us any good. We are consuming alcohol, we are smoking cigarettes, we are experimenting with all kinds of drugs. And this is for the young listeners on this call. We make our life painful ourselves. And is this what is intelligence and human brain and human brilliance is all about? When things are in scarcity, my dear friends, we see it as an opportunity to make greater profits. I know what has happened in the medical field, in so many other fields during this pandemic. The taxi drivers who would have been charging 1,000 rupees for a journey started charging 5 times, 10 times more, really encashing on somebody's pain and misery. Is this what is human relationship, human wisdom all about? Please spare a moment and think about this. I love to tell stories because I understand that stories are something that we remember for good rather than sharing information and knowledge. So I'm going to share with you a very small anecdote. It's conversation with Mead. Margaret Mead is one of the most celebrated anthropologists of our times. She is considered to be one of the greatest names in the field of anthropologists who study human evolution. So years ago, the anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked by a student what she considers to be the first sign of civilization in a culture. When does she presume that we human beings started living as a civilization rather than hunter-gatherers and wanderers? The student expected Mead to talk about clay pots, tools for hunting, grinding stones, or religious artifacts. But no, that wasn't the answer by Mead. Look at the answer. She said that the first evidence of civilization was 15,000 years ago when an old fractured femur. Femur is the longest bone in the human body, which connects the pelvic girdle to the knee. So it's a thigh bone. So it was a old fractured femur was found in the archaeological site. In societies without the benefits of modern medicines, it would have taken 6 weeks of rest for this fractured femur to have gotten healed. This particular bone was broken and was healed. So that clearly means that in the animal kingdom, if your bone or leg is broken, you die because you cannot run. You are actually being, surrounded by predators. You cannot drink, you cannot hunt for food. And once you're wounded in this way, you are meat for your predator. No creature can survive a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal because you're eaten first. A broken femur that has healed, here is the real story, my dear friends. It's when it has healed is an evidence that another person had taken time to stay with you for your safety and has bound up the wound. He carried the person to safety and tended them through recovery. A healed femur indicates that someone has helped a fellow human rather than abandoning them to save their lives on their own. Here's the truth. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts, said Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, for indeed, that's all we are here for. So my heartiest congratulations, Dr. Sharma, for creating this community. I won't say it is a small community anymore, but making an impact on such a large tribe of people by this brilliant idea of bringing people together who could show a little light to everybody when they needed it the most. Our community of beings has to know, my dear friend, being in community. And unless our education focuses on this particular aspect of our survival, we cannot thrive. Let's understand it for once and forever. Let's go back to the roots. The normal need not be natural. Please remember this because it is so profound. When I understood this one sentence, it really transformed something inside me. So many times we say, oh, everybody else is doing it. It's normal. See, everybody else is accepting bribes. It's normal. Everybody else is promoting corruption. It's normal, right? Normal is just what majority of people do. It need not be natural. Let's remember that always. We are using, pesticides and everything in our food. It's normal, but it's not natural. Yeah, we are living in air-conditioned antiseptic environments. It's normal now, but it's not natural. So there is a difference between what's normal and what is natural. So whenever you are in a dilemma or a doubt to figure out whether I should go ahead with doing it or not, just always ask yourself 1 or 2 questions. Sometimes people say, oh, I love coffee. Oh, or maybe somebody is an addict, so definitely they love drugs. So ask yourself one simple question. Does it love me back? Does coffee love me back? Do drugs love me back? Do not going to the exercise in the morning, not moving my limbs, does it love me back, right? And another question that you can ask is, what value will it add to the society? Will I be able to share this with my family, whatever decision I'm taking? Will I be proud of the fact when my children get to know that this is what I did and this is a decision that I have made? So these are very simple checks, that we can do whenever we are in a dilemma whether to go ahead with a particular decision or not. So time has come to understand that we are the same human beings on this planet. And I think pandemic taught this lesson to us in a very hard way, right? From top to bottom, from anybody to everybody got affected exactly in the same manner. So we are a human race and everything, our needs, our life cycles, everything are the same. Whether we want to or not, we must coexist, right? And as parents, and trust me, you know, you don't have to be a big shot to be able to inculcate, imbibe these values in yourself or in anybody around you. All we need is an intent. All we need is a will, right? And I mean, you can't imagine the power of a common man. I don't call them just catalysts. You know, we can be alchemists. We can change the world. If not, we can change the world for everyone. Even if we change it for one person, our job to be on this planet Earth is done. All right. So education of heart. I'm quoting His Highness Dalai Lama here, who first probably proposed or coined this phrase, and it is very, very close to my heart. He says in his words, "My wish is that one day formal education will pay attention to education of the heart, teaching love, compassion, justice, forgiveness, mindfulness, tolerance, and peace. This education is necessary from kindergarten to secondary school and universities. I mean social, emotional, and ethical learning." So not just cognitive, not just reasoning, logic, grammar, arithmetic, geometry. We have to take into account the intrapersonal, the interpersonal, you know, the environmental, the ecological part of our existence. We have to incorporate that in our education. We need a worldwide initiative for educating heart and mind in this modern age. And again, congratulations to Government of India to have taken into account all these aspects and creating a new education policy. But that's just the beginning, my dear friends. It is a reason for rejoice, but it's a bigger responsibility coming the way of we the educators, parents, counselors, psychologists, and people working in the space of education. At present, our education system are oriented mainly towards material values and training one's understanding. It's more about the cognitive part of it, but reality teaches us that we do not come to reason through understanding alone. We should place greater emphasis on inner values. And my dear friends, these inner values are not foreign to our Eastern culture, to our Indian culture. It's just that, you know, we need to remember them. We need to reconnect with them. They you know, they flow in our body like blood and flesh. It's just that, you know, little dust has accumulated, and we just need to, you know, shudder a little, move a little, and rejoice and renew our thought process all over again. So now I shall be talking to you about a few concepts, which again, you know, need not be incorporated in every education policy per se. They should be a part and parcel of our thought process so that we can share it and lend it, and we can walk the talk with our students and people who look up to us, for whom we are the role models. The first component, or the first concept is Aprigraha, the ancient Indian concept of Aprigraha, meaning non-possessional and non-attached way of life. Aprigraha spells out how much should be possessed, limiting possessions by the criteria of essential human needs. Friends, again, you know, this epidemic taught us what are the basic essentials. We survived almost two and a half months without eating out, without visiting malls, without shopping for branded clothes, without going to any of these branded, swanky, high-end hotels. we not only survived, I mean, the Facebook is full of stories where families were so happy, even with the basic amenities that were available to us at that particular time. And we all know everything got shut down. All we needed was food, shelter, and togetherness with our loved ones. And we did a great job in those 2.5 months. So whatever is not needed must not become a part of possession. When reality boom happened in India, it's still there. So, whenever we were meeting people, everybody was talking about, I want to buy land, I want to buy another apartment, I want to buy something. So I always used to have this question in my mind that, at one point of time, how many houses together can you stay in? How many bedrooms simultaneously can you really sleep in? Right? And so many times, we wanted to do for our children. If we do everything for our children, what will they do for themselves? The snow plowing parenting, where you create the path for their children, or you prepare the road for your children rather than preparing your children for the road. I think it is a disservice to the children. Please empower them. Teach them how to catch a fish. Don't keep on catching the fish for them and keep them accumulating in your vaults. It is going to rot. It is not going to last forever. So give them the skills. Give them, the sense of empowerment. Give them the confidence they can do it themselves, rather than, getting into that rut and standing on that hedonistic treadmill where we think we are running, but we are not reaching anywhere. So, Aprigraha connotates the moral desirability of limiting possessions and consumption to the essentials, that too with a sense of detachment. I think you all know it. When Dr. Abdul Kalam passed away, I think there were only 3 suits in his wardrobe, and no houses, no this thing, no that thing, nothing there that he could actually will it in somebody's name, right? So friends, these are 4 beautiful words that you need to remember. We all started our lives with yoga, communion, togetherness. We celebrate World Yoga Day. You know what is yoga? Yeah, connecting with whom? Connecting with the power from where we have come down to, connecting with the cosmos, connecting with the universe, connecting with the people around us. Yes, so we started off with yoga, then we moved on to upyog, utility, right? Till the time we are utilizing things as aprigraha, right? We are consuming things because we need it for our survival, because that is the basic physiological needs that we need to kind of fulfill. Problem happens when from upayogi we become bhogi. We become indiscriminate in our possessions, in collecting things, gathering things. We are not squirrels, we are not ants, my dear friends. We are not hibernating for a very long period of time. And when we become bhogis, definitely it leads to rogue. Right? And that rogue is, what is it? What rogues am I talking about? I'm talking about all the lifestyle disorders that we are facing. The heart diseases, cancers, diabetes, all the mental health problems, stress, anxiety, they were not there when you talk to your parents, your grandparents. We always say good old times. Why were they good old times? Because, we knew the difference between need and greed. And we were catering to our needs, and we know how to kind of disconnect and how to keep the vice of the greed away from us. 5 को छोड़कर 5 में खो गए हम. 5 को छोड़कर 5 में खो गए हम. जल, वायु, अग्नि, आकाश. क्या बचा? जल, वायु, अग्नि, आकाश, and one more element, right? उसको छोड़ दिया. And we have got tangled into काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, अहंकार. 5 को छोड़कर 5 में खो गए हम. उफ, क्या से क्या हो गए. Let's wake up, my dear friends. Let's understand what basic elements we are made up of. What's the real purpose of being here? Why did we come here? What was the intent of being human, right? And I think we need a little time to introspect and think about these questions. Often, I meet a lot of parents, and they say, "Hamare bacche hamari baat nahi sunte." Children don't listen to us. To all the parents on this call and to all the teachers on this call, children don't listen to us. They observe us. They watch us do things. Whatever you want your children to imbibe, whatever values you want to give them, just start playing those values. If you're waking up early and sleeping early, if you're spending just very limited time on social media and technology and you're consuming very relevant stuff, if you're spending more time reading, if you are meditating, if you are doing whatever little religious rituals that carry weight for you, if you are physically active, I will never buy this, that I am doing all this and my children are not doing that, right? So values are not taught, my dear friends, they are caught. Our children catch those values while we are living them each day in our daily routines and in our day-to-day mechanisms, right? So the second thing that we need to imbibe, that we need to live on the principle of, is sense of oneness and union. Vasudeva Kutambak. This whole earth is one planet. And I think Corona COVID reminded us of that once again. So once somebody asked Rumi is a great sage, Sufi sage. So somebody asked Rumi, how can we help others? And look at the profound answer that Rumi gave. Who is the other? Who is the other? Right? If each one of us, Aval Allah Noor Upaya, Kudrat De Sab Bande, Ek Noor Se Sab Jag Upja Kaun Pale Ko Mande. When we have all come from the same space, we do something here and then we go back to the same, quantum field, the same quantum world. So where is the duality, my dear friends? Where is the duality? Always remember, we are spiritual beings on an earthly journey. We are not earthly beings on a spiritual quest, right? So we all connect. We are all celestically connected to each other. We just need to keep reminding ourselves about the coexistence and the cohabitation factor. Another very important thing, if we wish this planet to thrive, we need to share with our children is a little sense of selflessness. I have written two acronyms here, WIIIFM. This is what we are teaching our children, and this is what all of us, including me, I know it's very easy to give a lecture on a platform like that, right? But there are vices in each one of us. So we all operate on this particular, but I'm work in progress. I'm trying to change, transform, practice whatever I'm preaching today or what I'm talking about today with this wonderful August audience. So WIIIFM stands for what's in it for me. Whenever a proposal comes, whenever we encounter anything, the first question is, how is it going to be favorable to me? What am I going to get out of that? Yes, but till the time we do not move on, we do not graduate from what is in it from me to what can I give? What can I contribute? What value can I add to this situation? The situation, the things are not going to change. Unless we plant a tree, my dear friends, the fruits of that will be eaten by some other generation. Unless, we are wise enough and we have that vision enough that something is to be done today and the consequences will be enjoyed by maybe 2 generations later, unless we start operating upon that level of maturity, that level of wisdom, we will keep encountering COVID-like situations over and over again because we have actually done a lot of harm to Mother Earth. We all call ourselves consumers. Yes? I have a little suggestion. Let's change this taxonomy. Let's not call ourselves consumers. Let's start calling ourselves restorers. So restorers are the people who give back, who reuse, who recycle, you know, who don't, you know, shop and throw stuff, right? They resume things, they revere things, they utilize things with a sense of gratitude, right? You know, we are so lucky. We have a gadget set in our home. We are sitting and connecting with each other. I do not know how miles apart we are sitting from each other. Imagine the plight of those children, you know, to whom I would call the digital have-nots now, right? So there was a case where, you know, somebody in Himachal, he sold his only possession, cow, for 6,000 rupees so that he could buy a smartphone for his children, because without the smartphone, the education was just not possible, right? So please think about it, how blessed we are, you know, how much we have, how much abundance and affluence we have. Just look around and, you know, just breathe in that abundance and affluence, and your life will change for good. Your life will transform for good. And give the same mindset of abundance to your children. Don't tell them there is scarcity of things. No, there is no scarcity of things. The scarcity always is there in the 6 inches space between our ears. There is no scarcity. There is abundance of everything in the nature. Only thing that we got to do is use it with caution and vigilance, and use it as much as we need it, and not start catering to our greeds, right? Another important thing that we need to learn ourselves and impart it to our next generation is a sense of other-centeredness. Enough of self-centeredness, my dear friends. There is a beautiful African concept called Ubuntu. I'm sure many of you would have heard it, but I'll briefly tell you through a small anecdote. So there was an anthropologist, went to jungles of Africa, talked to children of these African tribes, right? And, you know, he kept a basket full of fruits on one end, and he made all the children stand in a queue, and he told all those children that you have to run a race, and the one who comes first is going to get the whole basket of fruits. These children, they got the concept right. And when the race began, they held hands together, ran at the same pace, reached the basket of the fruits at the same time, and then shared the fruits amongst all of them. This is what is called other-centeredness. I am because you are. I am a speaker today. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma, because there are so many listeners there. Without the listeners, the speaker would have been just, you know, blabbering to a wall. Just would have been blabbering to the screen. So my existence is because you are there. I cannot exist in a vacuum. I cannot exist on a marooned island just catering to my needs and my greeds. We need to be sensitive of people around us. We need to be little sensitive to their needs. We need to be mindful of their needs as well, in case we want ourselves, our coming generation, and this earth to thrive, right? So from personal consciousness, my dear friends, we got to move on to universal consciousness, where I'm bothered about other person's well-being as well, where I'm ready to chip in my bit as and when I feel that my help will be able to make a difference to someone's life, right? So whenever, you know, somebody comes to you for help and you are in a little dilemma whether I should do it or I do not do it, or how much I will have to shell out in terms of, you know, सेवा 3 तरह की होती है दोस्तों, मन की सेवा, तन की सेवा, धन की सेवा. And all these three services, they need effort, they need time, right? So whenever somebody needs help, so we always think about ourselves कि, you know, मैं क्यों करूं, मेरा इसमें ये नुकसान हो जाएगा. ऐसा सोचने की बजाय, if you think that, you know, what change, what transformation my little help can bring to this individual's life, you know, how much value I can create in this person's life, I think our perspective towards service, toward help, towards seva will change. गुरुद्वारे में जाके, मंदिर में जाके बर्तन साफ कर रहे हैं ना भगवान के लिए, वो सेवा नहीं है. That's not service. That's selfish motive. We wish to accumulate some good karma, you know, so that, you know, it can be repaid later on, whatever. There is nothing bigger than the karma of seva, the karma of service to people around us. You know, maybe your maid needs a mobile which is worth 3,000-4,000 rupees and her children can get educated. Please spend that 3,000, 4,000. I'm 100% sure. So many of the people, you know, it's not going to make a big dip in our pocket, but her children will get educated because that's a small contribution that you're making to her life. So, you know, change your perspective. वो कहते हैं कि दृष्टि बदलिए सृष्टि बदल जाती है. Change your perspective towards small little concepts which we have only been theoretically talking about in the drawing rooms. It's time that these conversations about seva, about being good, about ethics, about values, we see them happening actually in the real life rather than, you know, just talking about them and making those intelligent expressions, and that's about it. Right? So it's time for action, my dear friends. It's time to put to practice whatever you have been gathering on these webinars. I heard it is the 95th webinar. You have spent 95 hours in learning new things, right? I'm sure the series will end, but the practice should start, right? We must get on our toes, pull up our socks, and start contributing in whatever tendency, in whatever capacity we can. All right. Next, let me just talk about two concepts here, satisfaction and success. Yes. Success means, you know, achieving some goals and targets, which we have kept for ourselves. And success means, that is the general understanding about success, that, you know, you keep a goal and you achieve that goal and you start feeling good about it and you start feeling accomplished about it. Success is actually to do a particular thing that you are good at doing in the best possible manner, one, and do it better every time you have the opportunity to do it, right? So giving your best to anything that you're doing and improving on that thing over and over again is what is my definition of success. So, you know, when I started making chapatis, I was not very good at it. But now, after 3 months of practice, I can bake a perfect round chapati. And my family is really enjoying it. So I feel I'm very successful at making chapatis, isn't it? So, and what is satisfaction? Satisfaction is a feeling that we derive when we look back and we see how much distance have we covered. You know, future generally gives us anxiety, right? Past generally gives us a sense of sadness or remorse or dejection. Whenever you feel, what have I done in my life? Stop looking into future. Get centered where you are. Look back and figure out where did you start your journey from. If you have made any progress from point A to point B, where you stand today, congratulations. You have made a lot of progress and you got to derive a lot of satisfaction, a lot of gratification out of that. So we don't have to prepare our children for success. Friends, the goalposts of the success keep on changing. You know, so you become a bachelor, you say, oh, once I do my post-graduation, I'll be settled. You become a postgraduate, so I do my doctorate, I'll be settled. So this definition of being successful and settled keep on changing. You know, I prepare students for UPSC. So children who make it for IRS, revenue services, I see them back next year. Ma'am, revenue is just okay. Maybe, you know, I should try for IAS. Okay, fine, try. Lucky enough, get through IAS. Ma'am, IAS is good, but I think I must try, once again, I must try for IFS. Go ahead, try for IFS. Bingo, lucky, become a bureaucrat, become a, you know, representative of their country in some country abroad. Yet call up from there, ma'am, I think India was better. You know, here there is this thing. So try to understand that satisfaction comes from inside. Satisfaction is not an outside thing, right? So we must train our children and we must teach our children to strive for satisfaction rather for success, right? So how do we do that? We teach them two major virtues. One is simplicity, right? And the other is patience. Now, there was this child who wanted to buy balloons, right? So there was this balloon seller who was selling Halloween balloons somewhere. Just a second. All right. So, halogen balloons he was selling. So there were multicolored balloons. So this child, he asked this balloon seller, will the red balloon fly? He said, yes, the red balloon will fly. Will the yellow balloon fly? He said, yes, the yellow balloon will also fly. And the black one? Yes, son, the black one will also fly. How about the white one? The balloon seller kneeled down, came to the level, looked into the eyes of the child and said, my dear child, it's not what is outside the balloon which will determine whether it will fly or not. It's the inside of the balloon that will determine, right? So no matter how expensive your clothes are, what brand watch you're wearing, okay, what jewelry you are bejeweled in, that is going to make a little difference to your appearance. I don't doubt that. But psychological research has proven, my dear friends, that success is an inside game. It is something that is inside you that will determine how far do you go. And that one thing that we need to teach and train our children in is, the best traditions of all time, simple living and high thinking. Ancient sages teaches us that happiness and virtues are found in restraint and self-control. I'm sure there would be many of you who would not be understanding Hindi, but there are certain things which when expressed in Hindi, they make more sense. So, santosh hamesha kam mein aata hai, right? So simplicity is the greatest virtue. Desire is like a flame which keep on burning our happiness, our joyfulness, and so many other things. Right? So our ancestors, they believed that respect the nature, be moderate in your consumption, and practice self-control and austerity. That is a simple key to live a very happy and joyful life. Simplicity and peace of mind, they are very great companions, right? If you're a simple individual, you will certainly be blessed with a lot of peace of mind, right? And the second important thing here, from success to satisfaction, we have to teach our children the art of patience, delay of gratification. In this time of e-shopping and email and, Amazon and Reliance digital world and stuff like that, any damn thing that we need to buy is just a click away. You don't even have to part away with the money. We have already, kind of filled in our credit card, debit card details. You just have to click buttons. Yes, but it's a great disfavor. What we are losing on is a major virtue, and that's patience. We have to teach our children, my dear friends, and in fact, we have to tell ourselves too, good things take time. When you log into something, and let's suppose that website is taking a little while and you see it buffering, do you just tune into your body then? Just see what is happening inside your body. We are getting really impatient, we are getting nervous, we are getting restless, and all those kind of things. Imagine if that 2-minute noodles have come down to, 2 seconds click of a button. But delay of gratification is very, very important value that we need to teach our children, right? Sahaj pake so meetha hoye. It is very, very important. We all want to be successful. I work with young graduates. I work with so many college students, and also when it's the time for them to get placed, and you ask them, okay, what are you looking at? We are looking at 5 days a week job. We are looking at 6-digit salary. We are looking at a workplace which is close to my house. I'm looking at a place which gives me this. Hold on. Whoever is your role model in life, you have no idea, my dear friends, what a meandering journey success is. What are the ups and the downs that a person goes through? We only see the consequence, the end result. We have no clue about what has happened behind the curtain, the struggles, right? The inputs, the kind of sacrifices that somebody would have made to reach where they have reached, right? So you've got to learn to wait for things to happen. Keep on putting your effort. Effort never goes waste, because nature always, rewards people who work hard, and she kind of penalizes laziness. So just be on your toes, keep learning new things, keep seeking new stuff, keep reading, be mindful of the stuff you're consuming online, because all these things, they are like food for thought. Okay, they create us, they make us. So be be a learner all your life, but be very mindful of what you are consuming. All right. Finally, I talk about the self-sustaining way of life. We have had this big campaign running again, on self-sustenance, on self-reliance, on self-dependence. So our education has to incorporate ecological intelligence and reverence for nature and people, if we want to be on self-sustenance route, right? So people are to be loved and things are to be used and not otherwise. Historically, conservation of nature and natural resources was an innate aspect of Indian psyche and faith. My dear friends, we have festivals around anything and everything in nature. We have Jal Devta, we have Vayu Devta, we have Indra, who is the god of rain, right? So, ancient times, we had Jalashe, we had Bavadis, we had wells, right? For restoration, for rainwater harvesting and everything. So, we were living in reverence to nature. And our folklore, our art, our culture, we have songs, we have folk songs, we have stories around each one of these, right? We are talking about life skills in education all the time. Just a gentle reminder, my dear friends, we all grew up listening to Panchatantra, to Jatak Kathain, to Aesop fables. What are they teaching us? They're teaching us life skills. The greedy dog story, it taught the dog not to be greedy and be satisfied with whatever little he had. The thirsty crow story, what did it teach the crow? What was it teaching to the children? It taught children to be problem solvers, isn't it? So why are we looking for outside? It's time we go back to the way we were being brought up. We go back to the way our parents and our grandparents had invested in us. And the same kind of investment is required. Yes, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. You need to be constantly in communication with your children. You need to be tuned into their needs at this particular time. The mediums can be different. The platforms can be different. It could be, some digital app teaching them all these things. But it is a must that, what we feel important for survival and thriving, it must be handed over to the children. The education is not just about skills for livelihood, my dear friends. Education is about skills for life. I have a 14-year-old son, right? He's a bright child. So many times he would speak to me and tell me, Mama, why do I need to study? Kyun padhna hai? Right? So after a long discussion, because I'm sorry, I know a lot of you are listening to me, but a young mind feels that this education is not relevant to real life. Okay? I said, fine. तो हमने decide किया कि पढ़ना है, क्यों पढ़ना है? क्योंकि marks चाहिए. Because, we understood that in Indian setup, we need to be abiding to a particular system of education in case we are looking up at, getting a higher education and all that stuff. And as if now me and my son and my husband, we could not muster the courage to kind of homeschool him or get into that. So हमने ये decide किया कि marks के लिए पढ़ना है. ठीक है, fine. तो फिर और क्या करना है? तो फिर, then he figured it out because he's a very techno friendly child. So he decided मुझे programming सीखनी है. Go ahead. He said मेरे को typing सीखनी है. Go ahead. And how many of you know it? I do not know, but he is into Rubik's cubing. He's a national level Rubik's cube solver. So what we do is, while he's practicing his Rubik's cube, I sit down with him and I ask him, okay, what are the life lessons that Rubik's cube told you or taught you? right? So and he tells me that, okay, Rubik Cube told me to visualize things. Rubik Cube tells me that I have to look ahead in case I have to solve problems. It told me that trial and error is one way of learning things and achieving things in life, right? So what I'm just quoting this personal example so that, it's not just about books. It's not just about the text in the books. It's not just about the four walls of the classroom. It's about we adults, how we try to utilize whatever is happening around us to the advantage of or creating a learning environment and a learning opportunity for the child. And this is precisely what we do in the institutes that I run. This is how we train the aspirants who are preparing for UPSC and other exams. And we are trying to inculcate ethical values in them right from the classroom. So when they join us, we treat them as officers. We don't treat them as aspirants, right? So they have this sense develop in them that I am kind of studying for a goal, and this is what it looks like, and this is what it appears to be like, and that makes the results fantabulous, and that transforms these people to become ethical bureaucrats when they actually join the services. All right, the last word, the final slide. The heart of education is education of the heart. It's all about teaching children emotional regulation. It is all about empowering children to become mentally tough, to become resilient, to become hardy personalities. It's all about giving them the skills to connect with people around them, because when adversity strikes, it's not what we have read in the textbooks that will come to our rescue. It's about how somebody taught us to utilize those contents in the real life situation is going to help us, sail through that adversity, that challenge in a more effective and functional manner, right? So my dear parents, you are the curriculum. You decide the curriculum, right? And you decide how this curriculum can be best used to bring in those skills in our children that we feel they would require to thrive in future, that they would require to bring about a change in themselves and around them. So again, I'm quoting His Highness Dalai Lama: intolerance leads to hatred and division. Our children should grow up with the idea of dialogue, not violence. That's why I said communicate, communicate, communicate. And when we communicate, listen more and talk less, right? When you listen more, I promise you, your children will also tune in to what you are sharing with them, right? So it's about the idea of dialogue, not violence, is the best and most practical way to solve conflicts. The young generation have a great responsibility to ensure that the world becomes a more peaceful place for all. But this can become reality only if we educate not just the brain, but the heart. The educational system of future, I would say of present, should place greater emphasis on strengthening human abilities like warm-heartedness, sense of oneness, humanity, and love. Aristotle, I do not know how many centuries away, said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. On this note, thank you so very much for being such engaging and such participating listeners. Please express my gratitude for being there on this call all this time. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, ma'am. You can close your presentation, then we will have a little bit of a conversation, because I've got lots of feedback on my Facebook. So I will share with you. It was such a wonderful, you gave the entire vision from your heart. and not only from your mind. That was the best part.
Thank you.
Just congratulations, it was wonderful. Now, on my Facebook, I've got a couple of things because some of the people joined from a country where English is not the main language. So they asked me that your 14-year son, when he picked up on some game, they want to understand the full name of the game. If you can spell it out for them, they will feel very happy.
Sir, it's the 3 by 3 Rubik's Cube. 3 by 3 Rubik's Cube. Yes.
Now he mentioned a couple of qualities which he developed because of that.
Yes.
So do you support that gamification in education can be very important?
I missed your question, sir. Could you please repeat?
Do you support that gamification in education can be very important?
Sir, it's not a Rubik's Cube is not a digital game. It's a sensory motor thing, you know. It's a 3 by 3 cube, which Amir Khan was using probably in Three Idiots. Yes. So gamification, I'm not too sure about because that's the word we use when we are talking about digital games. But yes, anything sensory motor, which is which is making the brain fire new neurons, generate new neural connections and pathways. It's always welcome, because when a child is involved in any such game, any such sensory motor activity, there are a lot of things that are happening. Eye-head coordination is happening. The working memory is increasing. You know, even with chess. So in chess also you plan 2 moves ahead.
Yes.
Yes, so you're building on your cognitive abilities, problem-solving abilities, reasoning ability, logic, everything. So I do support that.
Another question is that does music help to learn better?
100%. We have a right brain and a left brain.
Okay.
Right? The left brain is logical brain. Right? So left brain is all about logic, reasoning, mathematics, analytics. So our education system is actually catering only to the left side of the brain. When we incorporate art, music, dance, drama, we are involving the right side of the brain, the creative side of the brain, the imagination side of the brain. And when, 2 is always better than 1. When there's a connect between the right and the left, we take, we use the whole brain the way it should be, and obviously results are stupendous.
So music can play a very important role because it swings your mood, your positivity, your energy, your patriotic feeling, your national feeling, and good for the humanity and all. It's very important. So as a psychologist, what would you like to share, particularly kids today? Those have got very different temperament. That means they lose their cool very soon. They do not want to. I'll give you small examples. Like you're traveling in a train, you're traveling in an aircraft, you're traveling anywhere. If you want to talk to your co-neighbor and who is a youngster, he or she is putting the earplugs, they are listening to a music, or they are on the chat, or they are in the virtual world altogether. They are not with you, and they take an offense to it that why did you ask me, good afternoon, ma'am, good afternoon, how are you, how is everything? They take an offense to that. So what exactly is to be done? Because technology you cannot stop.
No.
Technology is an ingredient. Few days back, you were stopping children from using mobile phones.
Yes.
Today, you are telling them, please go through your lessons for 2 hours at least. So what would you like to tell on that?
Yes. Sir, I mentioned a bit about it. Unless we, encourage community feeling, the sense of being a tribe, young children around us, it's going to be very, very difficult, right? I mean, I can't have a very short answer to this, but as much as I can try. There is one word and one process and one technique in psychology which is being used worldwide now. It's called mindfulness.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are all aware of that. So now, meditation is not about sitting in a corner, closing your eyes, chanting a mantra or focusing on the center of your head or anything of that sort. No. Now, meditation in this world, in this fast moving world, is awareness, right? If you are being in a moment, if you are conscious of what's happening around you and inside you at a given point of time, if you are in a state of heightened connect and heightened awareness about everything, about the space around you, right? You become a whole. You start respecting other people's space. You start respecting, you're mindful of their physical space, their psychological space, their emotional space and everything. So it is an earnest request to all the young listeners, right? You are all technology savvy. Just download one meditation on mindfulness, use any, and spare just about 10 to 15 minutes a day in the morning, right? To connect with yourself, right? And you will see a huge change within yourself. Another very, very important advice. When we just get up, okay, our brain is in a state of alpha waves, right? Alpha waves is the time when we are most receptive to anything that is happening around us. And if I ask to people on this call, what is the first thing do you do when you get up in the morning? 99 people will say, we'll check our mobiles, right? So what happens is that important phase of your day, when you are so receptive, you lose it to some useless stuff on the gadget, right? So again, it's an earnest request to all of you. First half an hour of your day is your time. That's the time to sit quietly. If you don't wish to meditate, don't do that. Just sit quietly with yourself. Read something energizing, read something empowering at that particular time. Do a bit of physical exercise because, when the body moves, the brain grooves. Right? So आधा घंटा अगर आप अपने आप को दे देंगे ना सुबह का, you are sorted for the day. Your energy levels will be different. Your capacity, potential will change. So as if now, sir, that's the best thing I could think of.
Another question from the youngster. It is coming all the way from Central Asia. She's telling that youngster, and even for that adults also today, do not enjoy reading. Rather, they enjoy watching or listening. So don't you think as a psychologist that it is not necessary to read anymore when we have gone to new digital technology era? Instead of that, if we watch or if we just listen, our retention goes better and faster.
Okay, very valid question, and I would love to answer this question. Now listen to this carefully, whoever asked this question. See,
it's a girl in Pakistan.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the question. I think it is going to be of great help to many listeners today. Now, see, when you're listening or when you're watching something, it is something happening to you. You are a passive recipient of that information, right? Whereas when you're reading, you are actively, consciously involved in that activity, right? So you have earplugs plugged in, your awareness or your attention gets distracted, you miss on something and you don't even realize that, right? You're watching a video, okay, some distraction. Today videos are filled with ads. I get so disgusted with, you're watching some content which is very useful and an ad pops up which has nothing to do with that content. Your attention is broken, completely broken, right? However, when you're reading, one, you're consciously putting it or focusing your awareness on that particular theme, right? Then you're comprehending at the same time. You're making sense of that. You're understanding it. right? And sometimes, reading is so powerful, or what you're listening or what you're consuming is so powerful, you start experiencing it at the same time. So what happens when you read is, more neural pathways are involved. Your consciousness is involved. Your attention is involved. So you remember it for a longer period of time. So I think reading still has an advantage.
There's a girl Angela from Mongolia.
Okay.
Girl Angela from Mongolia. She says, ma'am, it is a human nature. Whenever you are reading something, your attention goes away after reading one paragraph or two paragraphs.
Yes.
When you are listening, you are totally focused on what you are listening.
Okay. If it is attention you're talking about, right?
She says that if I'm doing any activity, something she has mentioned, it depends on the kind of a book I'm reading. It's a horror book or it's a novel or something. But even if you have mentioned about meditation or listening half an hour something, what she has mentioned of your choice in the morning, when we listen, we feel you don't even watch on television or anything, but even if you listen, you are in your own world and your own space today.
Okay. See, there could be individual differences. One.
Angela from Mongolia, she'll feel happy if you mention her name.
Okay. Angela, hi. Thank you for the question. Okay. Angela, there can be individual differences. There are some people who are more visual than auditory. There are some people who are more kinesthetic than auditory. If you are so confident that listening works better for you, please go ahead. I have no intention of tempering or tinkering with your natural state of comfort, right? But again, I like to support whatever I say with scientific evidence, because that's what goes better with the logical minds today. Now listen to this again very carefully. When the heart beats, there is systolic and there is diastolic pressure, right? Similarly, as you said, that when you're reading, you're focusing and then your attention goes somewhere else. That period of loss of attention is very, very important for the brain to accumulate, to make sense of the information that you gathered while you were reading. So it's not an unnatural thing to happen. It is to our advantage that you focus on something for a little while and then you let go. So then you come back and then you let go. Even when you're relaxing, right? If you do a bit of yoga, what you do with your muscles, you contract your muscles and then you relax your muscles. So this is brain's way of contracting and expanding. Let it work the way it is working, and you decide what works better for you, whether it's reading or listening.
One of the girl who's a participant here only, and she has shared she's from Doha, Qatar.
Okay.
She's from Doha, Qatar. And her question is that, ma'am, what would you like to tell the younger generation? Because we all want to achieve everything too fast, too quick, and too soon.
I think so. Whatever I wanted to tell the younger generation, I've told it in my presentation. Now it's up to you. If you feel that you connect with it, if you feel that it made some sense, you practice it, because it worked for me. It worked for me as an individual, and we are all, creatures of our own experiences and our own interaction with life. So I think I've shared a lot of it with all of you today, and I hope that it makes sense to all of you, and practicing this brings about some positive change in your lives.
Last question. It comes from Abu Dhabi.
Okay. Abu Dhabi.
Is there any association of psychologists in India?
Many.
Okay.
There are many associations, yes.
Okay. I hope she is listening, and she can. You shared your number. They can get
I shared it in the beginning of the slide. Shall I?
You can put it into the chat box also.
Okay.
Your name along with your email ID.
I'll do that, sir.
If you feel it's appropriate.
I'm okay with that, sir.
Yeah, because then people can get in touch with you directly also. And it would be really nice to have them.
You can connect with me on Facebook. It's in my name. My page is in my name.
To give that over here, because some of them, because they're not from the English speaking countries. So when they join over here,
I can't put the link here, sir. I don't know how to do it. But if you search for Dr. Shilpa Suri Chandigarh,
okay,
I'm sure you will able to connect with me.
yeah,
And
just come.
yeah, so just mention it to me that you are connecting with me because you attended the seminar. So
Those have connected her from overseas. You are requested that before her cell number, you got to put for India 91, because those are overseas participants. You got to put 91 before her number, and then you can dial rest of the 10 digits. That is 0, or you can also use +91. That will also go very well. Instead of putting a 0 over there, you put +91, and then you give the number what she has given to you. And she has told that you can get in touch with her on email, and you can get her on the Facebook also, Dr. Shilpa Suri, Chandigarh. Chandigarh is a beautiful city in India. It's a modern city. You all can enjoy and you can see it. And it would be good connecting with her. And thank you very much, ma'am. It was great. And everybody enjoyed world over. And we look forward to many more discussion, deliberations, celebration, congratulations, jubilations, whatever you can think of, all of us together. And final message for the youth of the world before we close down. Final message. Quickly, if you can speak in 1 minute, what would you like to tell the youth of the world for 1 minute before we close?
You are the present and the future of our country, and we have very, very high hopes from you, right? We may not be the best role models for you. You don't have to look up to anyone. Just discover yourself, understand and know your potential, give the best to the world around you, and get committed to make a difference to the life of people around you. That is all I want to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. One question was left over. I'm sorry. You mentioned about somebody that who sold a cow in Himachal Pradesh.
Yes.
Could you
Yes.
give the details?
That has been taken care of, sir. This post was there on the Facebook, so he got a lot of help from the local government, and his need has been taken care of.
Because that's
Yes.
what, if somebody
Yes.
sold the cow, because it's an example, then our chamber can also come forward, and we would
Yes.
be
No.
right, because we are well connected world over, and we have
Yes.
people to support, and
Yes.
education, our chamber can help directly anybody anywhere.
True.
Words, we are signing off. Thanks a lot. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Pleasure, ma'am. Thank you. And after half an hour, you can see this program live on the YouTube also, Dr. Gulshan Sharma's page, and
All
it
right,
is
sir.
live on the Facebook.
Right.